I'm there when anyone needs me, just picking up broken pieces. When you're shattered on the floor and you're bleeding, I'll stay around, I'm not leaving. Somehow I still don't belong. I feel stupid when I talk, 'cause I can't tell if you're listening. Oh, I need somebody more than just a wailing on me. Everyone opening up at the dark side of mine. What about mine? 站在不适合的隔壁，还是青草可以结尾，总有一点晚气息，我为你想而舞曲，把这首诗词和旋律，刻在心上刻笔，当我走到看你，当我想着你。Just throw everyone's issues on top of mine. We bow both at the same time. Somehow I still don't belong. I feel stupid when I talk, 'cause I can't tell if you're listening. I get lost in the memory. No matter how hard I try, wish that I could explain it. How you painted on my mind. I've been thinking about it. How it felt like you're miles away. For as long as I had you, I could never make you stay. Tired of overthinking. How did I get so caught up in what was never meant for me? I keep running round in circles, trying to dance around the pain. I've rewritten all our moments, but they always feel the same. I know I'm not afraid of closure, but I'm scared to walk away. So I keep running round in circles over and over again until you're just a name. Tell me, how do you do it? Make it all seem so beautiful when you're giving me nothing, but I still had to lose it all. Tired of overthinking. How did I get so caught up in what was never meant for me? I keep running round in circles, trying to dance around the
keep running round in circles, trying to dance around the pain. I've rewritten all our moments, but they always feel the same. I know I'm not afraid of closer, but I'm scared to walk away. So I keep running round in circles.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to everyone. We begin with Surah Fatiha. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Arrahmanir rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin. Okay, so for today we have operating system security lecture 9. It's a completely literature review lecture.
And I still feel stuck in my lungs. And usually I go out on nights and I think of you once. But if they start playing that song, I can't help but to think about us. Really thought I'd be done with the hardest part. When I pull myself out of your arms, wish I knew that was only the start. And now I'm falling apart, 'cause last night for the very first time, you didn't even try to call. Oh, I won't lie, I thought I might die. I couldn't even sleep at all. And maybe I'll get used to it. Oh, right now
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is our lecture 9, operating system security. Okay. So these are the outlines. We have protected objects, methods and level of protection. Then we have memory and address protection. Then we have control of access to general objects, file protection mechanism, user authentication and summary. So these all outlines deals with operating system security. So we'll go one by one. Okay, so the one is protected objects, methods and level of protections. We have further subheadings. We have history of protection in OS, protected objects in OS, security methods in OS. Then we have level of protection in OS, 3 dimensions of protection in OS, and then we have granularity of data protection. Here we go one by one. History. Normally once we begin the history, it's a very baseline concept where no system software. User entered programs in binary. Single user had full control of the computer. Okay. Normally we schedule time for the use, and what are the preparation? We have to load the assembler, compiler, share subroutine, etc. And once we're done, we clean up the system. So there will be some executive, that is assist single user preparation and clean up, and that is the purpose of that executive. Okay, it's entirely passive, waited for users' request, and then provided services on demand. And then we monitor. The specific assistant executive assists multiple users in multi-programming systems, actively control system resources, okay, protect one user from interference by another. Okay, so once this kind of monitoring system is there, we feel there is a multi-programming, and we have to protect if we have multi-programming. Impact of multi-programming on security. Before multi-programming, no need to protect one user from another. Once we have multi-programming, we must protect it. Then we have protected objects in OS. We have multi-programming, sharing computers by multiple users. Okay, multi-programming necessitate protecting OS objects. These are the OS objects. We have memory, I/O devices. Then we have shareable programs and subroutines, networks and shareable data. Same thing we have done in our operating system, TMF. Since OS controls system resources, OS must provide such protection. Okay. Then we have security methods in OS. So these are the basis of security in OS is a separation. Okay. Keeping one user's object secure from interference by other users. So what are the different kinds of separation? We have physical separation, where use of different physical objects, different processes use the different physical objects. Okay, so that is totally physically. We have one PC, another have another PC. Then we have temporal separation. It's a security mechanism where multiple users or processes use the same resources but only at different times, so they do not interfere with or access each other data. Then we have logical separation. It's supposed to be this and this 1, 2, 3, 4. So logical separation is illusion that OS executes process only for single user, just like our distributed system cores. Then we have cryptographic separation. Processes conceal their data and computations from other processes, or the combination of all of them. So these are the security methods. Okay, then we have strength of security. We see logical separation, temporal and physical. So the level of security increases from top to bottom. Okay. And from the complexity of implementation, it's vice versa. This physical separation is easy to implement as compared to cryptographic separation. However, for resource utilization, different kind of separation, physical separation or temporal separation is a poor resource utilization. Now it's very easy to understand. For logical separation, cryptographic is very good resource utilization. Okay, and then we have absolute separation reduces efficiency. Okay. Full sharing separation spectrum, level of protection by OS. Then we have no protection. User can still protect him or herself by temporal separation. Okay. Then we have isolation. Concurrently running processes hidden from each other, unaware of each other. Okay. And then full sharing or no sharing. We have public, can be shared to all, or private, not shared. So this is a level of protection. Furthermore, we have sharing via access limitation. Okay. Access to each object by each user determined by the access rights. And the sharing by capabilities, extension to sharing via access limitation. It can be changed by owner, subject, computation, context, and object itself. Then we have limited object use. Okay. So limit not only object access, limit object use. For instance, can view the document but cannot copy it. Okay. For this complexity of implementation and finance of protection, so if we go no protection, it's not so complex and not so fine of protection. Okay, if we go to limited object use, it's a complex.
Whether you're relaxing at home or out and about, make your music move with you. With Premium, you can download your music at higher quality, listen to songs ad-free, and play them in any order. Tap the banner to learn more.
Okay, so this one is number one is memory IO devices. You can get from previous slides and network shareable data. It's a protected objects. Number two is a physical separation. Okay, temporal, logical, and cryptographic. This is how it look like. And then this one is our previous protection level. Limit use of objects, share by capabilities, share by access limitation, share all, share nothing. So this is how. Okay, this one is illustration, 3-dimensional protection OS. Okay, then we have granularity of data protection. Granularity of data protection is applicable only to data which is protected by bit, byte, element, word. Okay. Then we have field, record, file, volume. So this ease of implementing from top to bottom, and higher granularity data control is from top to bottom is worse. Okay. Then we have second heading. Second point in our main outline is memory and address protection. Okay. So most obvious protection protect program memory from being affected by other programs. Okay. So these are the subheadings and outline. We have fans, relocation, basebound register, tagged architecture, segmentation, paging and combined paging with segmentation. Some of the things we have learned in our OS lecture TMF. Okay, so this fence, as the name indicates, confining user to one side of a boundary. For example, predefined memory address and between OS and the user. Okay, it's a fixed fence, base space used by OS or block, or variable fence, we have to use a fence register. Okay. Even to fence, we have to use fence register. Relocation, programs written as starting at location 0 in the memory. However, it is starting location and determined by the OS. So before user instruction executed, each address relocate by adding this factor, relocation factor, and say to it. So the relocation factor is usually starting address of a program in memory. Okay, fence register plays a role of relocation register as well. Okay? So because adding in n to program addresses prevents us from accessing addresses below n. Then we have base and bound register. Base register, as the name indicates, is a lower limit. Okay, bound is upper limit. So now we know we have two different limits, lower and upper. Each program address is forced to be above lower limit. Okay, and each program address checked to be below upper limit. Okay, so this is how we can read the slide. To protect user instruction from user's own data, address are used 2 pair of register. One is register pair for data and that for instruction. Then we have tagged architecture. Problem with base bound registers is a high granularity of access right, ARS, and in all other slides we will use ARS. It's access rights. It can allow another module to access all or none of its data. Solution is a tag architecture. Okay, if you see from here, every word of machine memory has greater than 1 tag bits. So this one 001. So this is the tag. It's a R. These are the tags. Read only. Okay. Read write. Execute only. So this is how we can use the tags. Benefit of tag architecture. It's a good low granularity of memory access control at memory word level. The problem is required special hardware. Okay, so and more modern solution available. Okay, so this one is it's a researchable content. Then we have segmentation. Benefits addressing and enhancing memory protection for free. We have learned segmentation. Okay. What is segmentation? It's a program divided into logical pieces. So we divide the logical pieces. It's by default it's under the protection. Consecutive programs segment can be easily stored in non-consecutive application. Refer to our lecture TMF. Okay, then we have to do this segmentation. STT, segment translation table. Okay, so this is owned by operating system. Okay, so OS translate each data or structure address using SST. Okay. Then we have two processes can share a segment as by having the same segment name, same offset value in the SST. Okay. So this is okay, and then security related benefit of segmentation, strong segmentation protection because SST is under OS control. Okay. Then we have different protection level for different segment. Okay. Then we have segment with R only data, execute only code, write data. Different protection level for different processes accessing the same segment. So this is make the segment secure. Problem with segmentation, programmer must be aware of segmentation. Okay, and second is efficiency, because OS to look up of STT is something finding is slow. Okay, fragmentation of main memory is another problem. Okay, then we have paging. We have learned the same thing. The program divided into equal size of pages. Memory divided into same size page frame. We have learned that. And to do that, we have page translation table, PTT. Okay. Address translation similar as for segmentation. Benefit of paging: programmer can be used to page boundaries, no fragmentation of main memory. Okay. So these are the benefits. What are the problem? Can associate access right with page. Page is sometimes pages are random collection of items that require different protection level in general. So maybe page 1, 2, 3, but they have different access rights. Okay, so can't associate access right with pages. Okay. Then combine paging with segmentation. Paging offer efficiency, hiding from programmer, no fragmentation, and segmentations offer logical protection. Then page segmentation is programmer defined segments broken into pages automatically. So the benefit of paging and segmentation, but extra layer of address translation, so that is under computational cost and additional hardware deal with this overhead. Then we have control of access to general objects. Then these are the outline. Further outlines, we have introduction to access control for general objects. Okay. Then we have directory-like mechanism for access control. Then we have access control list. Then we have access control matrices, capabilities of access control, procedure-oriented access control. Okay, so here we have introduction to access control for general objects. We have sub-objects and subjects accessing them. So these are the general objects that need protection. For example, we have memory. Inside memory we have file, data set, okay, on auxiliary storage devices. Then we have another object is program executing memory, directory of files, hardware devices. Then these are the data structure, OS tables, instructions, special privilege instructions. Again, it's a general object. Then passwords, authentication mechanism, protection mechanism, all is object. And the subjects are user, administrator, programmer, programs, another object. Anything that seeks to use object, that is subject. Complementary goals in access control. This one is very goal. Check every access. Access is not granted forever, can be suspended or revoked. Then enforce least privilege, at least give subject access to the smallest number of objects necessary to perform subject's task. And then verify acceptance use. Okay, so verify if requested kind of access is acceptable. Okay. Then complexity of access control depends on object homogeneity, number of points of access, existence of central access authority, and the kind of access. So how to understand the above? Access control for more uniform object with fewer kind of access is simpler. Okay, so this is how to. And if you go more, it becomes complex. So this is the complexity increase from top to bottom. Directory, access control list, access control matrix, capabilities, and the procedure-oriented access control. So directory. Directory-like mechanism for access control. Okay, file directory mechanism access control to control file access. Each user has access right directory. Okay. Example, we have user A directory, user B directory. Okay. User A owns object 1 and 3, object 1 and 3. User B owns object 2, 4 and 5, 2, 4 and 5 corners. Okay. And then other object 2, it has a read and write read permission. Okay, here we have object 1 is a read permission. So this is how direct mechanism for access control. Okay, then advantage direct mechanism to control access to. Okay, advantage is easy to implement. Okay, and difficulties, all user directives get too big for large number of shared objects because each shared object is directory of each user sharing it. Then we have maintenance difficulties, deletion of shared objects, revocation of access, and so that is inside the book. Okay, then we have access control list. Okay, so if you see, the subjects are A, B, C, D, E. A list attached to an object. Okay. Access control is a list attached to an object, specifying access rights for each subject. Okay, so we have object 1, we have object 2, 3, 4, 5. For object 1, this is our subject and this is the owner. We have object 1, we have subject B, but he or she can only read. C can read, D can read. Okay. For object 2, he can read, he is the owner, C can read, he can read, and so on. So this is how access control list look like. Okay, so significant advantage over directory approach, can have default access rights for subjects without specific ARs. So these are the examples. Okay, then matrix. Okay, so how we have object 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we have subject A, B, C, D, E. So subject D for object 4 can write and read. Okay. Subject D for object 2 is its owner. Okay. Subject C or subject O is read permission. So this is how access control matrix we can read it. Capabilities for access control. Okay, subject access object only via capabilities. Okay. A kind of token, ticket, pass giving to subjects as certain access control for an object. For example, to see, it's a kind of access, and to see a movie is an object. Moviegoers is a subject, must have a ticket. Ticket is a capability. Okay. So capability to transfer access rights allows subjects to pass copies of its capabilities to other objects. It's under sharing. Okay. Capability is limited by its domain. Not all capabilities pass from caller domain to subroutine domain. Okay. And then subroutine can have capabilities that is calling to another setting. Okay, then we have capabilities help OS keep track of access right during execution. Then we have protecting capabilities. Capabilities in memory are accessible to OS. Okay. Capability are unforgeable to basic ways. Only OS hold and write capabilities. Capability is encrypted. So that's why it's unforgeable. Problem is capability revocation can be complicated. When capability revoked by its issuing subject, OS must find and stop corresponding accesses. Then we have procedure-oriented access control. Okay. It's a need to control action that subject can do on object. So this is what procedure-oriented access control. Okay, so the access control mechanism include the procedure can encapsulate object, control access to the object, provide trusted interface to object, and implement information hiding. Okay, the conclusion is a flexibility, complexity, and overhead increases from top to bottom. Directory-like mechanism is less flexible, complex, and less overhead. And if you go down, procedure-oriented access control is like this. Okay, file protection mechanism. We have these are the basic form of protection. Okay, single file permission and per object and per user protection. Okay, so for basic form of protection, we have all non-protection and then group protection. If it's a public files, it's a all protection. Okay, means it's all, and file protected by password is none. So anybody have the password can use it. Anybody have the password can use it. Okay, problem with this approach is lack of trust for public files in large system. Difficult to limit access to trusted users only. And then complexity for password protected files, human response required for each file access. Every time we have to do multi-factor authentication whatsoever. File names easy to find, file listings eliminate ignorance barrier. For group protection, so this is we have groups with common relationship. Group if has some need to share something. User belong to one group, otherwise can leak info object group. So example in Unix, user, trusted groups and others. Okay, we have user, group and others. For user, they have the right read, write and execute. For group, read, write and execute, and other read. So this is how we can read. It's a ease of implementation. OS recognize user by user ID and group ID upon login. File directory stores for each file. Okay, so what are the problems? User can belong to more than one group. Okay, so these are the solution. Okay, single user get multiple accounts. So that we can resolve this problem first. User might become responsible for file sharing. Okay, so this one is integrity issue. Okay, and then limited file sharing choices. Only 3 choices for file, private, group and public. So these are some problems. For single file permission, we have 2 types of single file permission. We have password or other token and temporary acquired permission. For passwords or other token, we have provided a password for each file in 2 conditions. File password for write access only and file password for any access. Okay. Problem with this file password, loss of password, using them inconvenient, take time sometime. Okay. Password disclosure and revocation. So this very generic problems. For temporary acquired permission, okay, we have maybe used in Unix approach based on user group other access hierarchy permission called set user ID. And allow user to share data files, access only by procedure and access them. Okay, so this is under temporary acquired permission. For object and per user protection, okay, for object its approach is file owner specify access right for each file per object and per user protection. Okay, so you see file owner specifies access right for each file for each user. Can implement with access control list or access control access. Okay, for advantage is fine granularity for file access allows to create group of users with similar access rights. Problem is complex to create and maintain groups. Then we have this is the last point is a user authentication. For user authentication, basically we have done that in our lecture 4. Okay, so outline the introduction, use of passwords, attack on passwords, password selection criteria, one-time passwords, challenge the response system, then the authentication process, authentication other than passwords, and the conclusion. For introduction, we have identification authentication in daily life. Okay, we have one example using library services. Library asks for student is identification. The purpose of this is to learn and the library asks for a proof of identity, its authentication process, to prove that you are who you say you are. Okay, your picture file. Once you are identified and authenticated, you can now use library services. Okay, the same thing, not in the library is a it's not a cyberspace. In the cyberspace online system using computer services, dialog box asks for students username, login, identification to learn who you are. So, and then later you have to enter the password. Authentication to prove that you are who you say you are. Once you identify authentication, you can use computer services. So basic principles is a definition. Principal is a unique identity. Okay, it's any person name. Identity is principal is a unique entity. Okay, it's any person. Identity specifies a principal. Okay. And identification obtaining identity from the principal. And then we have authentication, ensuring that principal matches the purported identity. So note the same principal may have many different identities. A working student might have two identities for two roles. Identification problem. In using library services, library asks for this field name. If the name is John, okay, and you see maybe more than 2 or 3 Johns in the library system, so the librarian must find a unique identification. So maybe you can ask for something else, maybe your phone number, then key in and then differentiate. So it's easy to resolve. Okay? In a closed system, each user has a unique pre-registered username. Okay? In a closed system, Unimas, anywhere. But in open system, internet, each user tries to create a unique username. Many attempts allowed until unique username found, just like Gmail account. Okay, then we have authentication problems. In using library system, librarian asks for a proof of identity. Student ID card proves identity. What if the ID is expired? Okay, on the spot, librarian must authenticate the student. Can I have your driving license? Okay, or registrar receipt? So this is how we can resolve this. But computer must authenticate principal, correct and current password. If invalid after n attempts, computer denies access to its resources. If expired, computer tells principal to get a new password. So this is how to resolve that. Okay, identification authentication is have very significant value basis for system to define users' access right. Okay, identification authentication can be based on what entity knows password, what entity is biometric, what entity has access token, badge, smart card, whatsoever, where entity is location, any combination. Okay, so we have done this before. So types of password, we have sequence of characters. Now we know that. What are the types of sequence of characters, sequence of words, numeric, alphanumeric, small, capital, whatsoever. And then we have challenge response authentication, where we have to do mutual authentication, like one OTP, etc. Use of passwords is the most common authentication mechanism around the globe, relatively secure, endangered by human negligence, okay, selected by system or user. Some precautions: disclose more info than necessary before successful login is basically a loose-lipped and good identification. A user given no info until login successful. So this is a recommendation. Additional authentication information, okay, maybe principal can access only for a specific location at specific times, from a specific location at specific time. So this is more specific authentication mechanism. Attacks on password, okay, kinds of password attacks. We have try all possible passwords, try many probable passwords, try likely passwords, okay, search system list of passwords, find password by exploiting, social engineering. So you see, this is how attackers try to do cryptanalysis to reveal the passwords. For try all possible passwords, it takes time. Okay, if we call this hit and trial attack or brute force attack. Okay, the approach is we sit down, we try one by one. The script is online available. Okay, so It's very easy. Nowadays, all the passwords is, if once we have the password table or hash value, even the hash value in the slides, later on we have the hash values, one-way hash function. So to secure so still we can do the password guessing. So many articles published on that. Okay. So it depends on is the attack target worth such attacker's investment. So it can have more time to guess the password. Cracking BIOS password using brute force attack. Okay. Countering brute force password attack, finding minimum required password length to limit probability of success. That's why it's recommended to change the passwords within 3 months. Must be, if you go to any online system, they have their own strength, weak password, medium or strong password. So follow something like that. Okay, this one is example you can do by your own. Try many probable passwords. Okay, so this can reduce expected successful attack time by checking most probable character combination from password. It's available online. If you ask Google will give you the text file. Check short password first. Check common password first. Example, check short password first. So prefer check password length is greater than K. Okay, so this is how for K3, 18.3 microseconds to check all combination. 4, 5, this is how 12.4 seconds. Expected time can be further reduced if we just use some common words. Okay, like Jenny, beer, RW. Just like these are the common words. Normally, birthday attack, dictionary attack. These are the things they can reduce the expected times. For further limiting success of attacks, maybe if someone enter wrong ATM password, so just ask the ATM machine to swallow that cash card. Or even computers look up after n tries, lockups. Maybe 5 times, 10 times, just like banking system. If you enter 10 times something, it will block. You have to go to the bank. Try likely passwords. People are predictable in password selection. So you can do social engineering. Okay. Can try to guess the password. Utilities helping admin to identify bad passwords. Okay. So this is COPS, CRACK, SATAN. Okay, so there's different utilities can be used by attackers too. Then we have 12 steps an attacker might try. Okay, no password. Sometimes we just no password and we are very busy to have a password, so no password. Then we can have same as user ID, username or derived from it, common word list plus common names and patterns, short college dictionary, complete English word list, common non-English language dictionaries, short college dictionary with capitalization and substitution. Okay, complete English with capitalization and substitution, common non-English dictionaries with capitalization and substitution, brute force lowercase alphabetic characters, brute force full character sets. So these are 12 steps attacker might try to guess the password. The game is to guess the password. To mitigate guessing the passwords, we have multi-factor authentication. Okay, so still ongoing multi-factor authentication. Okay, so we have so many. Even I publish more than 30 different algorithms for. It's highly citable if you see my Google Scholar. So it's more on how to hide password guessing system. Even if someone guesses the password, we have to do multi-factor authentication. Okay, go ahead. Okay, now search system list of password is we have operating system. An attacker need to search the system. System must keep list of password to authenticate logging user. Okay, so the password is inside the hard drive somewhere. Attacker may try to capture password list. So we have plain text system password file and encrypted password file. So for encrypted, we have conventional encryption or one-way encryption. So for plain text system password file, okay, protected with strong access control. Only OS can access it. Okay, only some OS module that really need access to password can access it. Okay, otherwise any OS penetration in password file penetration. Okay, attackers' way of getting plain text file. How? Memory dump. Okay, and searching from the password table is one way. Get password table from system backup, another way. Like we give you the link and someone click the link and go to the backup file, memory dump or something. Get password file by attacking disk. So these are the three basic way, and it's a successful way. It's a previous system. It's a plain text system, password file is a previous. Now we have encrypted password files. Okay, to approach conventional encryption and one-way encryption. Okay, so these are the problems with plain text. To resolve this, we have encrypted via conventional. Encrypt entire password table or encrypt password column or password table. Okay, so when logging principal provide clear text password, OS decrypt password from password table. Okay, exposure when decrypt password is for an instant in memory, attacker who penetrate memory can get it. Okay, and then exposure attacker finding encryption key, still is prone to attack. Then we go to the last one-way encryption. Still is ongoing nowadays. All OS is using this one. It's a better solution. No password explosion in memory. Password encryption with one-way head function and store. Refer to my lecture 4 slides. It's how password guessing. Same thing. So password comparison, once during registration process, once we enter username and password, so that the OS, it will hash the passwords and store in the system. Okay, so later on, once we key in the password, so the OS will hash the password and make the comparison with the table. If both hash values are same, go ahead. If not, ask for the correct password. Advantages of one-way password file can be stored in plain view, means it can be stored in the hash value. No need to encrypt that table. Backup files, not a problem anymore, even if they have hash values. But nowadays, so many scripts are there to get the value from hash. However, this is one of the main problem, is a salt value problem. Okay, if Alice and Bill selected the same password, okay, my password ABC123, Alice password is ABC123. Once we hash it, the hash value is XXX. Okay, so now next time we can, the both parties know each other password. Okay, so you see secure word, if we go for CMB Bank, RHB, any bank, if you enter wrong username, you can get a secure word. Still, it's a vulnerability. Still, but since to know the secure word is not guaranteed to we can enter the system. Same goes here. The solution is salt value. Okay, hash value and the salt value stored in password table. Okay, so how it works? It's Alice and salt of Alice. ABC123, this one is 1. Anything, if hash value ABC, the hash value for ABC is 1111. If we add the salt value ABC1, the whole hash value change, maybe 9999 example. Okay, so Alice salt value encrypt password Alice plus salt value stored for Alice. For Bill, we store for Bill. So now totally different hash values. Okay, hash Ali password is not matched with hash Bill passwords. Okay, so I think we're done for today. Okay, so if you have any query, you can just post in WhatsApp group. Okay, I think for today we have only one lecture. It's very boring lecture. Sorry. So, okay, attendance. Okay, make sure that this Friday we have face-to-face quiz. Yeah. Yeah, true, Amirul, true. Okay. Okay, I think we finished for today. See you physically on Friday. Okay, we begin at 11 sharp. Okay, 11:05. I will distribute the quiz. Okay, bye bye. Take care. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.